If you've been diagnosed with knee osteoarthritis, you may have been told that exercise is good for you. But the problem is sometimes exercise and movement actually make that knee pain feel worse. So sometimes exercise for osteoarthritis just doesn't make sense. But what if I told you that if you pick the right exercise and you did it the right way, then exercise doesn't actually have to be painful. The problem that a lot of people make when they exercise is they do way too much, way too soon, or they might not know what to do, so they keep doing the same things over and over again, and because of that they don't get any progress and they just end up hating exercise. So today I'm going to show you 21 different exercises that I show my patients who have knee osteoarthritis. Before you start panicking and thinking that's a lot of different exercises, just know that you don't have to do every single one of these, and you only have to do about 7 of these together at a time. The thing is, by knowing a lot of exercises, this gives you options on what to do. So on the days that you're not feeling so good or that knee's a little bit flared up, you can do the easier exercises. On the days that you are feeling a lot better, or for the people who have been doing this for a while, for them, they can do the harder versions. But before we go any further, if you need a bit more proof that this thing works, this program is loosely based on a very important osteoarthritis specific program called the GLAD program. So in this program, clinicians from Denmark got a whole bunch of people on a wait list for a total knee replacement. And what they did was they took these people through a 6-week exercise and education program. And after that 6 weeks, a lot of people who went through the program actually didn't end up going through the total knee replacement, all because they started feeling much better and they felt like they could go about their day-to-day life. So I've been doing enough of an introduction here. Let's get into the actual exercises. I'm going to go through 7 different exercises. The first 4 is going to be targeting specific muscle groups that support the knee, hip, and the ankle, which can then reduce the pain that you get from osteoarthritis. The last 3 works on actually improving specific movements that you're going to need in day-to-day life. Things like walking, getting up and down off a chair, and going up and down stairs, which are usually activities that people with osteoarthritis struggle with. For each of these group of exercises, I'm going to show an easy, a medium, and a hard version. And your job at home is just to figure out which version of these exercises is going to be right for you. The best way to figure out is to actually do the exercises with me as I do the demonstration. If you are able to do 30 seconds worth of the easy exercise, then you can progress to trying the medium one with me, and so on and so forth. If for some reason you can't finish the full 30 seconds or it just feels a bit too painful, then you just stay there, wait around a little bit, and just watch what the progressions look like. When I do start showing the next group of exercises, then you can join in again. So once you've watched this video once or twice over, you'll know which version of the exercise you need to be doing, so you can just build up from there. At the end of this video, I'll quickly show you how often you need to do each of these exercises. And again, just a quick reminder that this is just general advice. Exercise is not recommended for everyone, so speak to your doctor or your physical therapist to see if this is right for you. So the first few exercises are going to be done on your couch, just lying down. So this one's called the glute bridge. So what you do is you're going to bend both of your knees, bring your feet towards your hips, and then you're going to lift your hips off the bed. You're going to lift your hips up for at least 5 seconds, and then keep repeating this until 30 seconds is up. This is really good for working the muscles behind the hip, which does play a big part in supporting your knees. So if that version of the exercise was easy for you, you can make it harder by actually bringing one leg further forward, and then you're going to just be pushing and lifting your hips up off the bed using the foot that's closer to you. So in this version, I'm pushing through my left leg harder, the right leg's stretched out, and it's just there for a bit of support. If you're feeling this in the back of your hips, then you're feeling it in the right place. So if that one's pretty good, then you can do the hardest version of this all, which is a single leg bridge. So I'm only doing this with one leg in this demonstration, but when you do it, do 30 seconds on the left side and on the right side too. This goes for all the other exercises that I show you. So with this one here, you're lifting your hips up, but you're only using one leg to lift yourself all the way up. You might be wondering why we're working on our hip area a lot, and that's because the hips support the knee with all the movements that it does. Now for the next exercise, we're now going to be working on the back of the thighs, on the muscles called the hamstrings. So this one here, it's very similar to the bridge, but instead of having your knees all the way bent, you're going to have it close to straight. So you're just going to have a slight 30-degree bend in the knee. An easy way to know if you're doing this right is when you lift your hips up, you feel the pressure on the back of the thighs. So same thing, hold for 5 seconds and relax. So the next version of the exercise, you're going to bend your knees again and bring your feet up towards you. And from here, you're going to lift your hips and then straighten the legs out as you maintain the pressure on the heels. So as you see here, I bend both of my knees, I lift my hips up, then straighten my legs as I keep my hips lifted. This one works on the hamstrings a little bit more aggressively. If you can do a few repetitions of that for at least 30 seconds, then you can do the other harder version, which is a one-legged version. So with this one, you're going to bend your knees, lift your hips, then lift one of your legs up, and then slowly straighten the leg that's still supporting you. So in this case, I'm lifting up my hips, I'm lifting my right leg, then straightening my left leg out. Do that for 30 seconds. You might get about 4 or 5 repetitions in. If that's doable for you, then the version of the exercise that you're going to add to your program is this last one. But if you weren't able to make it in the previous stages, then that's okay. You can do the previous exercise instead. So you're going to need a chair for this next group of exercises. This one is just going to be leg lifts. Basically, you're trying to straighten your knee out as much as you can, and this strengthens the muscles in the front of your leg, known as your quads. You're just going to lift and hold for 5 seconds, and you're going to lower it down slowly. Repeat this for 30 seconds. Now to make this exercise harder, you're going to actually push against something. So an easiest way to do it is actually pushing up against a wall. You can also push against a table or some other hard surface in the house. You can push against your other leg if it's strong enough, but basically you hold and push against an object for 5 seconds and then release. And again, repeat this for 30 seconds. Now the last progression of this exercise is straightening and lifting that leg against a resistance. So you can do this by pushing against your opposite leg, or you can also put on an ankle weight or use some resistance bands to push against. In this demonstration, I'm just using my opposite leg as the resistance and then just lift it up and bring it down slowly for 30 seconds. The next exercise is still going to be on the chair. This one works on the calf muscles, which is the muscles behind your leg. You're going to be lifting your heels up and going on your tippy toes and bringing it down slowly. Over here, I'm putting my hands above my right leg, and that's because I'm putting a bit of resistance against that leg to make the muscles work a little bit harder. Push down as much as you comfortably can and bring it back down slowly. If this is too easy, then you can do a standing version of this exercise. You can do this by going on your tippy toes on both feet, lifting, holding for a few seconds, and coming back down slowly. In this demonstration, I might have been going down a little bit too fast, but the slower you can control the descent, the better the exercise is. So this is actually one of those things that builds you up so you can walk faster and absorb the load from the ground as you take your steps. The hardest version of this is doing a single leg version. That's probably the theme of these exercises. You start off with a double leg version and then move on to a single leg version. So with this one, I'm just going up and down on my tippy toes on one leg. I'm keeping one of my legs lifted nice and high and just imitating what it's like if I was pushing off one leg as I'm walking. So do this exercise on both sides so you can get the benefits for your whole lower body. Now this next exercise is called your lunges. This is probably one of the most important ones because it not only strengthens your leg, but it also teaches you control of how you bend your knees, which is so important for knee osteoarthritis. So here I take one big step back with my right leg, and then I lower myself down about a quarter way through and then push myself back up. I keep my right foot behind me and I go down and back up repeatedly over 30 seconds. I'm going to take a bit longer to explain this one because I want to show what the knee alignment looks like. This is something that they talked a lot about in the GLAD program. Ideally, you'd want your hips, knees, and foot in as close as possible to a straight line. So throughout the whole movement, you want to maintain this line as much as you can. This is showing you what it's like when that knee is rolling in way past that foot, which is the most common thing that people do. And try your best not to let that knee roll inwards too much. So here's another bird's eye view of this same movement. What it looks like is my kneecap is pointing towards the middle of my foot as I go down. And then this is showing what it's like if the knee is rolling inwards. You might have to practice this a few times. Of course, if this exercise ends up causing too much pain, then feel free to skip this group of exercises. So the next exercise is going to be the lunge again, but instead of keeping your back leg on the same position, you're actually going to bring it back in line with the other leg and then stand straight, then take one step back again, come down about a quarter way or just as much as you comfortably can, then bring your feet together. And again, repeat this for 30 seconds. When you step back, try not to land with the flat feet, try to land on the balls of your feet. This will make the exercise a lot more effective and more comfortable as well. So remember to do these exercises on both sides. So the hard version of this is actually stepping forward and lunging down. So you're going to take a step forward, come down about a quarter way, and then go all the way back up. So this one's really good in case you miss a step and you have to take a big step forward with one of your legs to stop yourself from falling. This one's not only good for your strength in your legs, but also for falls prevention. So notice here, I'm holding onto the chair just for a bit of balance, but if you can do it without, that'd be amazing. So your next exercise is your sit to stands. So you're going to just stand up and sit down from a chair. The chair is also a little bit of a higher chair than usual, so I'm not needing to strain myself. You can make this exercise easier by putting a pillow on the chair that you're using. So you just do as much of this as you can in 30 seconds. You don't have to rush it. Just do this at a slow, comfortable pace. The next exercise is a progression from that, which is just a quarter squat. So the difference is you're not actually going to sit down fully. You're just going to hover your bottom over the chair and then come back up. So I'm not making any contact with the chair. I'm just using it there for a bit of a guide that I'm going to lower my hips down and then come back up. A lot of people, when they squat, they just bend purely from the knees and they forget to lean back and get the hips involved. So by having the chair there behind me, I'm actually forcing myself to lean back and use my hips as I stand up. And finally, if that's easy enough, then you can add a bit of weight. I just have a 1 liter water bottle here, but you can definitely build up to adding more weights. So if you have weights at home, you can add it here, or you can just put some extra bottles of water in a backpack, which will help to strengthen all the muscles in the leg. Again, go at a comfortable, slow pace. This isn't about going as fast as you can. And sometimes if you go too fast, the exercise doesn't actually end up becoming effective for muscle growth. So if that previous exercise was to improve your standing up and sitting down, this one is for improving your walking and your balance. So we're just starting off with a semi-tandem position. So I just have one foot slightly in front of the other and I have my feet touching. This just challenges my balance. And to make it even harder, I'm just going to look side to side. Try not to hold on to anything, but have a chair in front of you there for safety. You're going to hold this position for 30 seconds. And if you can do that without losing your balance, then you can move on to this next progression, which is just a full tandem stance. So you just have your left and right foot in a straight line, kind of like you're about to walk in a balance beam. Try to hold this for 30 seconds if you can. Make it more challenging for yourself by turning your head side to side and just have a wall and chair there for you for safety. This is not only good for improving that knee's capacity to weight bear, but it's also good for our overall balance, which a lot of people lose when they start to have knee pain. Now for the last exercise of the day, to improve our weight bearing ability on that arthritic knee, we want to be able to balance on it. This one's all about balancing on one leg for as long as you can. And again, if this is too easy, you can turn your head side to side, but for a lot of people, they probably don't need to do the head turns. It's okay to wobble as long as you catch yourself and keep that single leg balance position. So if you've made it this far, I hope you've gotten a few options of exercises that you can do that's going to be less painful for the knees. The goal is to be able to do each of these exercises for at least 3 sets of 10 repetitions. So that's 10 repetitions, have a rest, do 10, rest, and then do a final lot of 10. You need to try to do this at least once a week and then progress to doing it 2 or 3 times in the week. If you do get stuck and want a bit more personalized support, the description of the video has our details on how to contact us. Feel free to reach out and we'll get in touch with more specific advice. In the meantime, here are a few other videos that you might find helpful for improving your walking and strength.